So I told you I was mad.
Hi guys and girls, Day of Infamy, roll video.
When the Army Air Forces asked the RAF to transfer us over in order to train up American pilots, that took us right out of the European theater and straight to the Pacific. It was a tremendous honor to be brought home like that, the whole squadron. I have to admit, I regretted leaving the RAF, as they'd been more than decent to us. But I knew they'd be doing just fine without us. And there were American pilots who needed to learn what combat flying was like before they got taught the hard way. And it certainly did look like it was going to be soft duty. Sure, we wanted to get back in the action. At least I did. But there are worse things than serving as flight instructors in Hawaii. At least, that's what we thought.
Rightio, so here we go. We're going to be flying the P-40C Warhawk. It's a bit of a slow, lumbering aeroplane, but it's well armed and it does the job. Okay, well, we can play this with different airplanes. I'd actually like to play with the Spitfire Mark V, also I recall. Right, so we open up on us being attacked. We're right in the middle of it. There's bombs going off all over the place, bullets flying everywhere, and we have to scramble, scramble, scramble. Okay, in case any of you haven't realised, this is December 7th, 1941 in America. It was actually December 8th, 1941 in Japan. Same time, but it was, you know, out of dates and at times and clocks and shit. Okay, and it's the infamous attack on Pearl Harbor. On that day, 6 aircraft carriers from the Japanese Naval Force was set a few miles off the coast of Hawaii, and they launched, I think it was 353 aircraft in an attack upon the American naval base. It was pretty unfair, as war had not been declared between the two countries, and it was a sneak attack, like your man says at the beginning. They sent in first a few waves of bombers, then they sent in fighters and torpedo airplanes. Their whole ambition, of course, was to sink the battleships, which were basically parked here. It was like a vacation spot for the Navy. They'd come here and refit their ships and get a bit of R&R. So everybody was pretty relaxed when this surprise attack came in. There had been a small warning from radar, but that was mistakenly identified as a training mission. I think it was B-52s coming back in. So the guys, as in the US naval guys, were just basically sat around enjoying the sunshine. First thing they knew about it was the bombs started going off around them. The aircraft which were based there scrambled as quick as they could and did the best they could. 8 US battleships were actually badly damaged. The Arizona took a direct hit to the front arsenal, which is where they keep all the ammunitions, and the whole front of the ship basically just blew off and sunk almost immediately. There was thousands of people who actually died during the Pearl Harbor attacks. Of all the boats of the 8 which were damaged, 4 of them sank. But before, or within the year, all of them but for 2 were back in full service and were fighting fit. Right, anyhow, right, so we're bombing around the place here, having a good old laugh, taking out a few of these bombers. I think the graphics are quite good for this, you know. It's quite believable that you're flying over Hawaii, you know. Not that I know, I haven't really flown over Hawaii before. Right, I was actually challenged to try and say something different every time I shot down an enemy airplane. I would do it for this, but there's just so many of them. I think there's probably like 70 airplanes I shoot down in this, and there is no way I could come up with 70 funny things to say. Right, this the end of this wave is these last 2 boyos here, isn't it? Come on, get the fuck in this. Move over a bit, over a bit, over a bit. Come on, finish them off. Yeah, that's them. Right, a few of the guys which on the radar you can see they show up as orange. They're enemy, but they're not like primary targets. But they're also guys that shoot at you and cause you damage. So if you get a chance like this, you should give them an old smack. Oh, there's one. Wow. Get out of the way. What's coming in? Oh, let's protect the battleships from... Is it torpedo aircraft? Now, if you set this up right, because they're all in a line, you can actually shoot them one after the other. Holy God, there's a whole pile of them. Yeah, some of what the guys say, like, oh, there's men in the water and all that, it's quite unnerving when you think of what happened here, you know? There was like thousands of men on board these ships, and like I said, they were all just in a relaxed state, maybe doing a little bit of work. They weren't really at battle readiness. Oh, I need help from Joe. Come on, Joe. Well, next thing they know, they're getting fired upon, you know? And they're trying to like load guns and get into their battle gear and fight off these marauding attackers. I like that word, marauding, don't you? Yeah, it's cool. Right, so how many's left in this wave? There's a couple left in this wave. They get a bit tricky, but like, it's easy enough for somebody of my caliber and skill, you know. Oh shit, there's one too close to me. I'll have to go out a bit. Right, out a bit now, turn in on him. The nunchuck is still a bit soft on the turns, but we can manage. Here we go. Also, it's a good idea not to try and hit other things like the battleships and that as you're flying through shooting. But yeah, take a blast at these boyos every chance you get. The less of them in the sky, the less damage you take. All right. I think this is all pretty historically correct. I don't think they would make claims of foul play against the Japanese unless it was totally true. I know. Ooh, language, Timothy. So you can hear the temper in some of these guys, and these are just like guys acting a little bit. Right, there's quite a few of them now. And what I find is when there's a lot of them, you can get distracted. You can be on one guy shooting at him, another one comes into view, and you skip. Oh, what's the crane? You skip off to attack another one. The best thing to do is find a target, or should I say, pick a target, and then just take them down. Otherwise, you just scatter all around the place. If there is a lot of scattering of them, and you can just get a few hits on each one, it makes them a lot easier when you do actually come around to shooting them. Yeah, I'm being hit by a few bullets here now. Thankfully my damage level isn't too high. It's pretty good. I'm pressing the right hand right hand D-pad button, and that actually changes whether they're in formation, defense or attack. What happens is, oh Jesus Christ, I nearly joined the rigging then. What happens is, if they're in formation, they just basically follow you around and they take the odd pot shot. If they're in defense, then they help to defend you. But if you set them into attack, they will actually go out and take down some of the enemy as well, which can make it a bit easier for you. In some sections of this game, you just need them to help because there are so many enemy in the sky. So I keep flicking between formation, defense, and attack, just trying to provoke my own team to take down some of the bad guys. As you can see, a lot of the battleships are now smoking, and for their health, but they're doing it all the same. I don't want to make too light of this because this is a historical event, and I know it's a game I'm playing, but I still like to show a little bit of respect for the people who were involved in this as well. I'm sure most of you know the history that actually the Japanese, or rather our Japanese delegation, had been invited to tour Pearl Harbor. I think it was like 10 days before the attack, and they were basically shown the defences, which was very handy for their military to then know where the targets were and how to deal with everything in Pearl Harbor, and the sort of like strength of forces which were there and the number of ships that were there. There was a couple of ships which weren't in the harbour, and they actually escaped the attack and went on to chase down the fleeing fleet of Japanese naval vessels. if you ever see a film called Tora, it's a very good. It's an old film, but it's a very good portrayal of what happened in Pearl Harbor. And there's a famous quote from the commanding officer of the naval force of the Japanese fleet, that when his men and everyone were celebrating what they thought was a victory over Pearl Harbor, that he saw it more as, to quote his words, that they had awoken a sleeping giant, which basically meant they had they'd pissed off somebody who was going to come back and bite them on the ass, and that certainly did happen, because America got a rather poignant and deadly revenge against the Japanese people when they dropped 2 atomic bombs. I think they were the only atomic bombs which have ever been used in history as part of a war, or the only ones that have ever been dropped. There's been a lot of them waved at one another, like when we had our Cold War there a few years back. Right, there we go, Frank. Get in there, son. Do us a bit of... Come on, take him out. That's it. Jesus. The thing I do like about this is you can't have any head-on collisions with anybody, which is fortunate, because there's been a lot of times I've been going nose. Right, up. Oh, look at this. Come on, come on. Oh, shit. Shit. Oh, into a dive now. Shh. The danger with this is you're not being able to pull out of it. I got him. Cracking. Killed all the zeros. Checkpoint reached. There's a few more. Oh, there's another wave. Protect the industrial area. Where's the industrial area? Bombers. Ah, oh, Scrant. Bombers are a lot handier. The only thing is they're pretty well armed with guns. So you got to not get too close to them. But they're slow flying and all the rest of it, and they generally stay on a straight track. So you can get in on them quite easy. Says he, totally making a stuff of it. The Japanese actually had 3 waves of aircraft they were going to use, but they felt after the second aircraft wave they had sufficiently crushed the forces in Pearl Harbor, and the commanding officer decided it was better to retain these aircraft than just to send them all in there and possibly risk losing the aircraft, because he wanted them to be able to help defend the fleet as it beat a retreat back to Japan. Right, where are we at now? Well, there's a good few still left here, right? That's it, line up for me. Go on, you bugger. Ah, that's the 2 of them out of it. The plane's in pretty good order. Might need a fix soon though. See, these guys, a lot of them I've given them a tickle already with the gun, so they're a lot easier to kill. Come on, up. I'm overflying them a lot. Yeah, I'm getting in too close. I need to reach out a bit. There we go. Focus on him. There's 2 of them. Come on, get your man. There we go, cracking. I'm getting shot up here, but I've still got like half life on me. Oh, fucking hell. Everyone. Hey, cracking. Thanks, Joe, you're a gent. You're always there to fix me up with a bit of sellotape and some chewing gum and an elastic band. Come on. Getting too close. Yeah, that's him stuffed. Come on. Yeah, get the boys to do it. But they won't. And not. Keep overflying him. Keep overflying him. Even with the slow Warhawk. Right, I need to go out a bit. Fly out a bit and turn in. I'd love to know what they're actually saying in Japanese. Right now. Come on. Yeah, that's your man done. Booyah. Booyah ma booyah. Yeah, go on. Yeah. That's it. I think, yeah, that's it. That's this level done. Yeah, look at the mess. Everything's on fire. Like I was mentioning earlier, Yeah, mission is complete. See that it's got formation written there above the the control thing. Now if you press the right hand, if you press the right hand button, it will change that from formation to defense to attack. There we go. See, they're the three: formation, attack, defense, and they can they dictate what the rest of your crew's doing.
All that was left was to go out and do it.
Booyah. Simplify. See, all the boys gather around me formation. Cracking. And I got ace. Would you believe it? Yay. Thanks a million, guys. I hope you join me for the next one.